Okay, today we are going to study the section 3 of the principle of creation. So section 3 is the purpose of creation. Okay, so let's read the divine principle. Right? It is recorded in the Bible that after God completed each day of creation, he saw that it was good. This suggests that God wanted his creation to be object for partners, embodying goodness, that he might take delight in them. So he said it was good, each time. So he created, right? Like this, Genesis 3, Genesis 1, 3. And then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. And another one, and God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called the seas. And God saw that it was good, like this. So after he created things, and he said it was good. When you see something good and you are happy, then you say, oh, good, right? Like that. So God is saying, after he create things, and he must be, happy when he saw the creation, his own creation, right? So that suggests that God wanted his creation to be object partners, right? Embodying goodness, that he might take delight in them. So he is happy. I mean, maybe he wanted to feel happy, right, through his object partners. So in order to understand this part, so we need to understand God's heart. So probably you already heard this maybe many times. Just I want to go through this because this is very important. Heart, Shimjeong. Shimjeong is a Korean word. We translated it to, the word or terminology, heart. Right, heart or Shimjeong is the core of God's internal nature. This is a core of God. This is a center of God, right? Center of God's internal nature. Right? It is the emotional impulse to seek joy through love. This is an impulse, right? Emotional impulse to seek joy through love. So this definition is in the unification thought. Okay. Actually, you cannot find this one in the Divine Principle book, but you find this in the Unification Thought book. So more explanation here, right? In God, the emotional impulse to seek joy is grounded in the impulse to seek love. Since true joy cannot be obtained other than through true love, thus the impulse to seek love is stronger than the impulse to seek joy. Yeah, so impulse to seek love is stronger than the impulse to seek joy. The impulse to seek love is the desire one possesses, wherein one cannot help loving others. In other words, one cannot help but seek partners of love. So, or maybe we should read more. Okay. The impulse to seek joy is triggered by this impulse of love. Impulse of love is primary, and the impulse of joy is secondary. Thus, love is an unconditional impulse rather than the means for joy. The necessary result of love is joy. Thus, love and joy are two sides of a coin. And the impulse to seek joy is the impulse to seek love that has manifested. Yeah. So in the unification thought, it is explaining the Shimjeong pretty deeply. Because sometimes like we may confuse by this definition of Shimjeong, right? Emotional impulse to seek joy through love, right? But I mean, that means, right, Shimjeong is impulse to seek joy. You want to feel joy, That's obviously we have that kind of desire deep inside. We want to be joyful, right? So then how we can get the joy? And through love, right? So that's Shimjeong. But the unification thought is making sure that the love is not mean, right? The love is an unconditional impulse rather than the means for joy. We are not loving people who are like a people or God, maybe just talking about God. So God is not loving people or loving object because he wants to feel joy. Maybe like you may say that, but that's the here love is an unconditional impulse, right? Love is an unconditional impulse. That's the impulse to love is primary, right? It says impulse of love is primary. You want to love somebody. You want to love something. So that's the fundamental thing. So then when you love that object, and that's when you love that object, when you love, then you know that when you have the good love relationship with the object, then that's a joyful, right? So you want to gain that joy, but love, impulse to love is unconditional. That means like the primary desire is to love. You want to love something. You want to love the object. You want to love, somebody, right? So that is the primary impulse, that we have that desire. Then in this case, God's case, and then our case too, because we have a heart too. That's you are not loving because you want to gain joy, or means okay. Okay, one more time. So this expression is very good, I think. Okay, that's love is not means for joy. Okay, I think that is one thing. It's very important. Love is not the means for joy, right? So okay, I want to feel joy. That's why I wanna love you. Not like that. I wanna love you. This is a first. I really love you. I wanna love something. I love you. So that's the first, right? Then the joy comes with it. Once like you have a good love relationship, then joy comes with it, right? So then that means what? Even though sometimes like you cannot make the good love relationship, then that means like you don't feel joy, right? If you cannot make a good love relationship, then you don't feel joy. But your impulse to love is there unconditionally. Like parents loves children, like God loves us. That love is there. That when we say God has a heart, or God is the God of heart, is that God has an impulse to love. Then the joy comes with it. Then what about then God loves us? Then like we don't love God, So in that case, right, God is not gonna happy. God is not feeling joy because we don't love him, But still, his impulse to love us is there unconditional, So that's their heart. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. So okay, so that is the point, they're explaining that very clearly in the unification thought, right? So, that sometimes, or maybe many times, I get the question, okay, God created us for joy. God wanted to feel joy. That's why God created us. Is God selfish? That kind of question, right? because like it seems like, or like if we do not understand deeply, God created us for his own joy, like that. So that means selfish, or maybe selfish, that kind of question, but it does not, right? So that's God did not create us for his own joy with the selfish desire. No, God just wanted to love somebody. God needed some object partner to love, right? That is his impulse. I want to love something. I want to love somebody, something, right? I need something that I can love, right? That is their God's desire, then when you could the when you could establish that love, give and take action, then the joy comes with it, So the true joy, actually true joy only comes from the love relationship. True joy comes only from the true love relationship, right? Then actually we know that, then God knows it. So love and joy cannot be separated, You wanna love somebody, that's a strong impulse. Then at the same time, then you are expecting such a joyful experience through the love relationship, right? So that's how that is the motivation of God's creation. So this heart is the core of God, right? So God is a God of heart. So the center of God and the core of the God's internal nature is the heart. So heart is impulse to seek joy through love. Impulse of love is their heart. He wanted to, in order to love, right? God wants to love, but in order for him to love, he needs the object. Without object, you can't exercise love, right? When you say love, then that means you love somebody, you love something. Without that object, then you can't exercise love, right? So, but God had a heart, the heart is an impulse of love. I want to love, right? That's why that God needed object partner. That is the motivation of the creation. That is the purpose of creation. God created the universe. God created human being because he wanted to have a love object. So then a love, then if you could establish the love relationship, it said the love and beauty. Beauty, sometime we are going to talk about the love and beauty relationship too. But beauty is basically when object loves back to their subject partner, God or any subject, object give love, object loves back to their subject, after object receive their love, then you want to return the love too, right? So that called beauty. Once you establish such a relationship, then you feel joy, so joy comes with love. Only joy comes from only true love relationship, basically, right? So that is the relationship between God and the creation. Okay, so this is the purpose of creation. This is a motivation of the creating all the things, including human beings. Yeah. All right, so that's why it's one when we understand that this is God, then we understand clearly why God created us, why God created a universe, right? Then of course, as we know, as you all know, you love object if if object doesn't return the love or beauty, or that this object do not love back to the God, then of course God is not going to be joyful, right? God will be sad. God feels grief, feels pain, right? So we know that because we experience that, yeah. So all of us, we have that kind of experience. We love somebody, but that somebody is not, if that somebody doesn't respond to me, or like that person hates me, that's really painful, if you are ignored, even you love somebody, if you love your beloved, but that person ignores you, right? You feel pain, right? So that's, that's a natural thing. So that's like the love nature. If you love somebody, then you want love back from that person. That's a love relationship, right? Original love relationship. Then it's like you feel true joy there, But if no love is coming back, or rejection was there, then it's like you feel pain. That's a very natural consequences. Yeah. But well, we didn't know that, right? So because we didn't know God is such God, because we did not know that the God is a God of heart, So up until today, we did not know that. But now we know this is God. That's why that God is love. It is true, but God is not a loving machine, just loving unconditionally. Yeah, yes, he loves us unconditionally because that is the heart, right? The unconditional impulse of love is heart, but that the heart seeks joy through love relationship. That's why if God cannot develop or establish the love relationship, then God feels hurt, God feels pain, and God feels grief, right? That is God, Okay, so that is the purpose of creation. So then now, so again, so let's focus on the human beings a little bit. How can the creation give God the greatest joy? God created human beings as the final step in creating the universe. Like God created human beings at last, right? This creation of a human being was the final step. Yeah, he created them in his image, right? We talked about the image, right? Like image, truth, embodiment of truth in image, right? That's a human beings. So he created them in his image, in the likeness of his internal nature and external form, right? In the likeness of his internal nature and external form. So basically, human beings are created just like God, created them in his image. God created human beings just like him, just like God, in the likeness of his, God's internal nature and external form, and gave them sensibility to all feelings and the emotions because it was his intention to share joy with them. So God gave us all the sensibility to all feelings and the emotions, right? We have the emotions like God. We have a heart like God, So we have a sensibility like God, right? That's why we can share all the emotional experiences. That we are so sensitive, like God is sensitive. Like we can sense everything God feels, then God can sense everything we feel, right? That is the that is the relationship we want. Yeah, like when we when we think about, okay, that what is next? Yeah, when we think about yeah, maybe you can go this way. Right, so God created human beings, in his image. So God, we have all the like a sensibility and the emotions, everything like God has, So that's how God and the human being can have the very deep love relationship, deep, same level. We can understand each other, right? So that's a point. God gave everything to human beings. Right? Maybe last week we talked about how human beings are different from other animals and all other things. Right? What's the difference? We have the God's deity or divine nature of God. Heart. We have a heart like God. Right? We human beings has this one, just like God. We have a heart. Then we have the what was it? We have a logos. We have the the ability of reasoning. That we can create the blueprints. We have that kind of ability, like God, right? So we have all the emotions, and then we have the ability to create things like God does, like God has. So we have all of those things like God. Therefore, that we can, God and human beings, we can share everything. We can share everything, all the emotions, happiness, grief, sad, excitement, everything, right? So then that's a human being. Then God wanted to have that. That's a thing. If he create the love object, right? What kind of love object he wanted to create? That he wanted to create something or create somebody, create something just like him, so that he can have the perfect love relationship, that kind of object, right? So let's see. I have a dog, the very nice dog. Maybe always I'm giving you the same example. I'm sorry, but that the dog, I love dog. Then I have a good dog, right? So cute. Then I can love her a lot. Then so she loves me. I know that. Then we have a good love relationship. Right? I'm happy. Then that's that dog, my dog Momo. So she's happy too, right? So, however, we can't talk. We are happy and we are both joyful when we have a relationship, but we can't talk. That she doesn't understand what is in my mind, right? So maybe a little bit. I'm happy, then also maybe she feels it. Then if I'm sad, maybe she may feel something, but that's so limited, right? Because the level of spirituality or any intellectual emotion, that's everything is so different, right? Dog is not like us, so that joy I can gain from her is limited. It is great joy, but it is limited. It's different, that joy different from the joy I can gain from my wife or my children, my parents or my friends, right? Human and human, we can understand each other. We can if you really love each other and respect each other, then you understand each other so deeply, right? That's bring you an incredible joy. Then you think, if you have somebody like that, if you have somebody like that, that you can trust, you can understand, then you love so much, then that person also respects you fully, respects you so much, then that person loves you so much, that person understands you so much, right? If you have that kind of person, right, either spouse, maybe spouse can be like that, actually should be like that maybe, and then your friend could be your friend or anybody, so if you have that kind of person, that's bring you an incredible joy, then basically that's it. So that's then if you have somebody like that, right? Maybe I may little bit deviate, but if you have somebody like that, you don't wonder what is my purpose of life, that kind of things. You don't have to think, because you know that you exist for that love. You exist right here for that love with you. Then your object partner or subject partner. If you have that kind of person, right? Then you don't wonder why I'm living. No, no, you don't, because you know that. Like you are fully satisfied and happy, because you have that kind of love relations right there, So that's how, like, I think we feel, when you have that kind of person. God wanted to have that kind of relations. God wanted to have that kind of incredible love, joyful relationship with the object, right? So that object partner is human beings. So God created human beings for that purpose. God created human beings so that the God and human beings can have the incredible, amazing, exciting, loving, joyful relationship, So then God feels joy, then of course we feel joy, right? So that is what, if that is the purpose of creating human beings, then then when we fulfill it, then we also feel so satisfied. I'm feeling, I'm totally good, So that, right? So that should be like, that that is like that's fulfilling my own being, fulfilling my existence. Yeah. So okay, so that's okay. When we understand this is the purpose of creating human beings, right? Then we know. Now we know that, when we could establish the relationship with God in this level, then we'd be so happy. Then of course, like, we're going to study the three blessings, then we can understand more how God can feel joy through us, after we study the three blessings, more detail. All right. So, okay, this relation, that kind of God and human beings, this relationship is the relationship between, like, relationship of parent and child, relationship between parent and children. Okay, that's a God and human being, right? When, of course, children are, born from our parents, then the children has to grow. But when children grow up, then the children become adult too, right? Then the children are going to be their parent. So when children grow up like that, still parent-child relationship the same, Even the children grow up and become adult and they may become a parents, but still their parents is their parents, right? The parents and children relationship remains. But now both adults, then they can really truly understand each other, right? So that, that is the parent-children relationship. So God and human beings relationship is like that. Okay. Okay, I think we read this one last week, but I want to read one more time. God is a subject partner to human beings, and we are the object partner to God. Okay, this is actually a special subject object relationship, okay, God and human beings. An object partner is a full reflection of the subject partner. We are the full reflection of God, right? So we are the visible form of God. We are the visible form of God, and God is our invisible form. Subject and object partners are one in essence. We are one. Right? Like a mind and the body cannot be separated. Same body, same, right? Okay, otherwise we would not be able to reflect God's full image. We are reflecting God fully. What I'm trying to illustrate is the value of object partner. How important the value of the object partner, right? How important, right? When we understand this, how important, right? If God doesn't have this, then what, right? If God doesn't have this one, then what? What's the point of God existing? What's the point? even God has a meaning of existence when he has the object partner like us, right? So that is the value of the object. That is the value of object partner. As we are the object partners to God, we are placed in a position equal to God, right? Equal to God. Thus, people share the same value as God and are just as important as God. We are just as important as God. That we have an equal value. The value of the object partner is incredible. So that is the universe. That is God. The universe. Everything is existing through the relationship, right? That's we learn that from the section 1. Everything exists through the dual characteristics. Having the dual characteristics, everything is relating each other. Without the relationship, nothing can exist, right? Because God is like that. That's why all the creation is like that. And the relationship between God and the created beings, God and human beings are like that, So that's subject, then object. That is the that's how the world is existing. Okay, anyway, so that's this is one amazing thing. Without object, then the subject has no meaning. Actually, there is no subject if there is no object, right? Okay, so that much the body of the human being is amazing. Okay, so we are talking about the purpose of creation. All right, purpose of it. Then when we understand this one, then we understand, right? That makes sense. In order to understand the purpose of existence or meaning of existence, we need to go back to the origin, why we are created. Without understanding this one, and we don't know this one. When we are wondering our purpose of life, why we are existing, what is the meaning of my life, right? In order to understand that, then we need to go back to God's purpose of creation, right? So then we understand that a little bit now, but we are going to talk about this dual purpose of all things now before studying the 3 blessings, right? So this dual purposes, everything or all beings have a dual purposes. So that are the whole purpose and the individual purpose. Every being has the whole purpose and the individual purpose, just like every being has the internal character and the external form, dual characteristics, right? Everything has a dual characteristics. Likewise, everything has the dual purpose, like internal and external, subject and object. Then those like a whole purpose is like internal, and the subject partner to the individual purpose. So individual purpose is like more external thing, and the individual purpose is the object partner to the whole purpose. So when you look at the dual characteristics, internal, external, that's they should have a good relationship, harmonized, right? The dual characteristics, they should have the good, smooth relationship, and object partner and the subject partner, object partner, good relationship. So likewise, the whole purpose and the individual purpose should have a good, smooth relationship. So whole purpose is a purpose for the sake of whole. Every existence has some meaning or some purpose of existence for the whole, not the itself, right? For some kind of meaning or purpose for the bigger world. So then at the same time, so that has their purpose for the sake of itself, for the sake of the individual. Yeah. So this, we call that whole purpose and the individual purpose. Divine principle said, okay, let's go this one. In God's idea, there cannot be any individual purpose which does not support the whole purpose, right? It said, there cannot be any individual purpose which does not support the whole purpose. So individual purpose, there, you have your own individual purpose, but that always does support the whole purpose. Your existence is always supporting the whole. So no, okay, in the ideal world. Okay, nor can there be any whole purpose that does not guarantee the interest of the individual. In God's idea, the whole purpose is always guaranteed the interest of the individual. That is the the original relationship between the whole purpose and the individual purpose, right? So that means like there is no like individual purpose does not, no individual purpose which does not support the whole, or like destroying the whole. Like that you are doing something for you, you have individual purpose, then that individual purpose is just destroying the whole, destroying your community, in the human society case, right? So that kind of things doesn't exist in the ideal world. The whole purpose, like there are whole purpose for your community, for the nation, then that sacrifices the individual, right? That's not separated from the individual purpose, individual interest, interest of the individual. So that those like a two doesn't go together, right? We can see that kind of stuff in the fallen world, right? But in God's idea, so there are those two purposes are always together, supporting each other, right? That is the God's idea. The infinite variety of beings in the universe form one vast organic body interwoven by those purposes. So, this are talking about entire universe, not only a human being, right? Everything has their whole purpose and the individual purpose, and they are supporting each other, right? So that's why the infinite variety of beings in the universe form one vast organic body, right? One vast organic body interwoven by these purposes, right? That is the universe. That is a cosmos. Everything is connecting each other, serving each other, then fulfilling the individual purpose, right? Not only individual purpose, serving the whole purpose, right? So everything is intermingling each other, right? That's create the vast organic body. That is the cosmos. Then human beings are in there too. Human beings, right? Human beings are should be like that too, right? So that is God's original idea. Man, everything else has the whole purpose and the individual purpose. Yeah. Then the human beings has the whole purpose and the individual purpose. Yeah. So try to understand the human beings case, because this is an issue. Beside human beings, every beings are doing fine, in one sense, right? Because they are living, they are existing by the law, by the principle, right? So they are just like following the principle, but human beings, we have the free will, then we cannot decide what to do, right? So that's a human being. So, okay, let's talk about this one. In the human society, we have a whole purpose and the individual purpose too, human beings, right? Whole purpose, that's some purpose for others, right? So that means like, if we think about our desire, we have a desire to bring joy to others. That is actually love, right? We have love, we have a heart, love, right? We have a desire to love somebody. I mean, we have a desire to make that person happy. If you love somebody, you want to make them happy, you know, right? So that means like bring joy to them. Then you are doing something for them, not for you, right? So that's a love nature. You want to do something for them, for others, right? That we have that kind of desire in us. So when we fulfill that kind of whole purpose, then actually like you feel joy too, you know, right? You know that, according to your experience, when you are fulfilling whole purpose, right? That means you love somebody, you are like making somebody happy, right? You are making somebody happy, you know? That's fulfilling the whole purpose, then actually you know that you are fulfilling the individual purpose too, because you feel joy, too, right? When you make people happy, then you are happy. So you are fulfilling the, when you are fulfilling the whole purpose, naturally you are fulfilling the individual purpose. If you are doing something for others, then make them happy, then they will do something for you too. That's how like you are individual, you know, as in your individual existence is supported by others, you know. When you live for the sake of others, then they will live for you. That's a natural give and take action. So when you put the whole purpose in the subject position, then everything should be okay. You know, when we studied about this like last time, when we studied the give and take action, you know, live for the sake of others first. Giving is first. When you give everybody, when you give first, right? That's how like you can develop the good give and take action. So when you put your whole purpose in the subject position means you live for the sake of others. You know, when you live that kind of life, then like actually naturally people live for you, you know. So then we are living for each other. So that's how like we can have the good, the great, harmonious give and take, harmonious relationship with each other. We can create that kind of wonderful community, right? So then do we have to live for the sake of others? Yes, but actually your essence of your existence is love. Essence of your existence, our existence is heart, right? That's why like that you have imposed to love somebody. That means like you have imposed to do something for other people and make them happy. That's our natural desire, right? When we follow that desire, then live that life, then this whole, you know, you are not living for you, you know. So that kind of life. The center of your life is not you, actually, right? So that we are created to be like that. Center of your life is my beloved. You know, if you have a husband or a wife, then you know the center of your life is your spouse. If you have a children, center of your life is children. Then that becomes so natural because we want to love those people. You know, that's right. That's how like naturally we can live for the sake of others. Then if everybody live for the sake of others, then we have a good relationship. Yeah. So for means for men. You know, we this is a principle of creation, but we're going to study the fall of man later on, right? Fall of man. Fall of man means this subject-object relationship was reversed. That Lucifer put his individual purpose first, you know, then because of his selfish individual purpose, you know, selfish purpose, then like so he destroyed everything. So now we inherited that fallen nature. That means what? So like we tend to try to fulfill our individual purpose first. this individual purpose became the subject in this fallen world. Yeah. So that is the reality. So individual purpose became a subject, and the whole purpose became object. That this individual purpose became more important. You are thinking about yourself first, how to live, how to eat, how to fulfill the physical desire, how I can be happy. The thinking about yourself, ourselves, right? Then you don't know. You can be happy when you love somebody. You don't know that. People do not know that so much, right? When you live for the sake of others, you be happy. So people do not know that, right? We try to be happy. We try to make me happy, So that's you try to fulfill my own physical or selfish or individual desire first. When you live that way, you can't make a good relationship. Can't. Yeah, so that's a lot of example maybe for this story, but maybe you can imagine, if you are trying to think only yourself or yourself first, right? Then the husband and wife relationship doesn't work. Doesn't work. If husband live for the sake of wife, then the wife live for the sake of husband, then they should be okay, right? However, if husband put himself first, and he is the first, then his wife is the second, right? Then you kind of demand your wife to bring joy to you, you use or you utilize your wife or your spouse to bring joy to you. That kind of thinking, that kind of way of thinking, that not good. If some food is there, then you want to try to eat, right? Not try to give that to your beloved. Yeah. If there is limited materials, then if two people there, then if they want to take that thing, then you have to fight, right? That's how we have a fighting everywhere, not centering on the limited materials, limited food, oil, or the land, or property or money, try to take for you. Therefore, we have to fight. Yeah. If you do not take, if you do not want to take, if you want to give fast, then you don't need to fight. Very simple. Some people say this is idealistic, but actually this is a reality, I think. This is a reality. If we are selfish, if we live this kind of life, there is no peace. Never, ever. Even though you may change the political system, you may change the law, you may become rich, you have enough money to live, right? No matter what you do, if your internal nature or if the internal attitude of your life is like this, then there is no peace. You cannot bring a peace. The peace comes through the smooth love relationship. Then that can happen when you put the whole purpose in the subject position. That means you live with love. If your life becomes the loving life and the living for the sake of others, then we can establish this kind of good, loving, peaceful, peaceful family, community, the peaceful world. Yeah, that's why true father is always saying, live for the sake of others. That's the key, very simple, right? Very simple, but that is that amazing truth. Yeah. All right. So I think today that is it. So next week, we're going to talk about the 3 blessings one by one.